Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen Reborn. In case you're new here, kindly consider subscribing to this channel. And for the returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back and appreciating my content. On today's video, I want to talk about a silent song and other stories. This is a continuation of the stories that I've been analyzing, taking you through story one by one. I began with the first two stories, and today we are moving on to the third story, that is NIMEMA. Yes, that is NIMEMA by VRENIKA PATHER from South Africa, which is Indian origin. So kindly sit back and enjoy the analysis. Ensure that you take your glass of water, a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and enjoy this analysis. Enjoy the journey with me. So first of all, I want to talk about the key issues that arise in this book. Number one thing, there is aspect of tough life of a market vendor. We are introduced to this lady who is called NIMEMA, who struggles so much to survive, who is a market vendor, sells herbs in the market, and this is how he earns her living. So we are introduced to this lady who wakes up so early. The first paragraph of the book talks about the rising up early. It's 4 o'clock on Monday morning. NIMEMA reaps the herbs from her garden. She's a market gardener. Her crops are healthy. She has green fingers, but she does not know it. That shows her rising up early at 4 o'clock. Again, we are introduced to the lack of proper grooming in this book. We are also introduced to poor meals. We are introduced to having to deal with different customers. So talking of poor meals, NIMEMA has to pack lunch and carry it to the market, and there she eats it. In this part we see, in page 15, we see that NIMEMA, at lunchtime, she takes out the sandwiches she packed that morning. She eats them as she works. Yeah. So this shows that the stall is so busy, a lot of customers are coming to buy, so she even doesn't have time to eat, and she eats as she continues with working. Another thing that we can talk about, there is poor grooming or lack of proper grooming. We can see NIMEMA baths once in a week, that is on a Saturday. Yes, she coils her long black hair into an uncompromising bun at the nape of her neck. She will wash it on Saturday when she takes her bath. For now, it is neat and out of the way. Her presence displaces the space around her and fills it with gravity. She's a beautiful woman. She makes heads turn when she walks. So we can see that NIMEMA only has to take a bath once a week, that is on a Saturday, and that is when she's going even to wash her hair. That is when she also boils water. She has never seen a hot shower. She boils it in an open fire water. That is where she can get the hot water to bathe with. So we can see there is that lack of proper grooming. Another thing that we can see here is dealing with different customers. Number one thing that I noticed in NIMEMA, first of all, there is how she treated first and last customer, because she believes that the first customer is going to bring luck, and the last customer as well, who is going to close the business of the day. So NIMEMA has to be so careful on how she deals with these customers, because these are the people that are going to bring luck. And at some point we can see that she even gives a bunch for free to the last customer who came, and the customer promised that I will come again tomorrow. That is how she manages to gather a lot of people to come and buy her goods. NIMEMA is also admired by many girls or many ladies. They admire her, even though she's a competitor. These people are in business. Her stall is always arranged in a good way, and because of this, people admire her. We can even see from the part that I read that even heads could turn at the sight of NIMEMA. When she walks, heads are turned. So this shows that a lot of people are looking up to her, and because of her organization, even people are admiring her. Another thing that we can see about the tough life of a market vendor, there's also the part of poverty. We can also see that NIMEMA has some champals. She comes with them to the market in the morning, only puts them on when going to the market. Comes with them. On arriving, she takes them off, put them somewhere in the stall, sells, and when it's time to leave, she puts them on, then goes back home. On arriving, takes them off and puts them under the table to preserve them. These are some shoes that she doesn't want them to get to worn out so fast, so she has to consider all this. Considering the living condition of this lady, there's extreme poverty here. Again, let's talk about the characters in this book. We get to see the NIMEMA is the first character, and we can say that NIMEMA is a determined girl, principled girl, even though she's living a life of poverty, or from a humble background. She's so determined and hoping that one day everything is going to change for her. Again, we see that there is Mr. Chinran. This is a white man who is so loyal to NIMEMA. This is a loyal customer, and also buys more than enough just to support the work of NIMEMA. Again, there is Mrs. Singh, who is so wealthy and a loyal customer, but so difficult, bargains too much. And even though she bargains too much, she's still loyal and comes back to buy on a daily basis. We get to see also there's this strange man. This strange man is so vulgar, immoral, and very lascivious. You can see whatever, I'm going to explain it later, but whatever he does to NIMEMA shows that he's an immoral person. Again, we see the last character from just a few that I mentioned here. We have Dr. Siddharth. Dr. Siddharth is NIMEMA's doctor. They talk about, he comes to the stall, they talk about the NIMEMA's mother's ailment, talk about NIMEMA's health, and even teases NIMEMA by telling her that I've never seen you for the longest time treating cold, and they hope that let it be so, that she's not going to get sick. So these are the characters that I've mentioned that we can see in this book. And also the ladies that admire NIMEMA because of her determination and hard work. Also, we have them as the characters that are mentioned in this book. So on the next point, on the third thing that I'm going to talk about, let's talk about the caste and relationship. Mr. Chinran, this white man, is also a lawyer. Is so wealthy, comes to buy here every day, and he admires NIMEMA. But because of their different class, they have different class, it's not possible even to think about getting to date this lady. We can see the theme that arises also here in this book. There's this aspect of class. There are the haves and the have-nots. And this aspect of class arises here, and we can see from this, it's not possible. Considering the Indian culture, it's not possible even to marry from a humble background when you're from a rich background, and even to intermingle, it's so difficult. So we can see that NIMEMA, they cannot get into a thing, even though this man admires him. So the only thing that he can do right now to the admirer, or the admirer can do to NIMEMA, is just to promote NIMEMA to buy goods in a good number. And at some point, you can see in this book, the man is also asked that you bought more than enough, more than what we needed. So you can see that the extreme that this man can go to by buying more than enough things just to promote NIMEMA's business. So there's also that under caste and relationship. Then there's sexual harassment. This man that I've talked about as a strange man, this man is so immoral and vulgar, comes to NIMEMA, grabs NIMEMA's breast, then runs away. Asks NIMEMA, if you felt something good, then you have to follow me. NIMEMA doesn't hesitate. And when I was reading this book, I was so much, let me say, I was in a tensed mood. I was thinking about this girl. What is going to happen next? Is NIMEMA going to give in? After all these stories that we've been told about her, then at the end of the book, NIMEMA now meets this man, touches the breast and runs and says that if you want to if you felt something good, you have to follow me. Then I noticed that this lady is so principled. She follows the man, runs after the man, and then takes off her champals and uses this to hit the man. People, she didn't even notice that people were there looking at them and watching them. She beats the man using these champals, hitting him right and left, and then all of a sudden there was a crowd there watching. People were watching, and to make sure that she even pays for whatever these people were thinking or whatever has been done to a lot of people, she even goes an extra mile to even hit her longer. So we get to see this lady is principled. Even though if she followed the man, she doesn't fall in the trap, but fights for the right of the women in the book by responding back by hitting this man in this book. So we get to see this lady is so principled and so determined into reaching her goal. Then another thing, when talking about principled lady and determined, NIMEMA goes back home. Let me read this part. It is dark when she finally reaches home. She places the basket under the kitchen table and covers it with a clean cloth. NIMEMA removes her champals and places them side by side under the kitchen table. They are ready for the next day at the market. She washes her face and feet with cold water. She feels refreshed. Before starting her preparation of the evening meal, she sits down for half an hour. Closing her eyes, she dreams of the home that will be hers someday. That is determination. She's so hopeful that one day things are going to change. I'm going to live a life that I've always admired. And then she would not have to contend with the bullying landlords. The house will have hot water too, and the kitchen will be on the inside. She will have her own large garden where her herbs will flourish, and maybe she will start growing some fruit for herself. She's so hopeful that one day things are going to change and I'm going to live the life that I've always admired, or the life that I've always wanted for myself. So that is where we see how NIMEMA responds to all these challenges and how determined this lady is. And so I'm going to get there in today's video. The first video that I analyzed was a man of awesome power. The next video I talked about was the incident in the park by Meja Mwangi. Then today is NIMEMA. So kindly, if you've not watched the 2 videos that are posted, kindly go there and watch them to help you reconnect with the stories as I go one by one. So thank you so much for reaching this far with me. Thank you so much for supporting me and subscribing to my channel. May God bless you. So let's stop it at that point. And when you want to know more about issue of class, I analyzed a book, God's Bits of Wood by Osman Semben. Is in this channel. Kindly go and watch that video. You also get to learn something about class. Any questions that are arising from this book, I'm going to tackle them. I said that I'm going to tackle them in a different video, just answering questions. So I'll go by story. After that, I'll analyze the questions that arise from these stories. So ensure that you watch and you subscribe so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for your support and have a nice time. Bye.